All this and more coming up now on Carolina News.
Live from the capital city, Carolina News brings you your news first. With breaking news and in-depth reporting. Up-to-the-minute weather. And all your sports news and highlights. It's all here, now, on Carolina News.
Investigators said today that they now believe one of the San Bernardino shooters did indeed pledge allegiance to ISIS. Officials say female shooter Tasheen Malik posted on Facebook while the attacks were going on, reaffirming her loyalty to ISIS leader Abu al-Baghdadi. Hello and welcome to the 4 o'clock edition of Carolina News. I'm Tori Beth Black.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Abby O'Brien. In an update from police, Carolina News learned today that Malik's post was on an account with a different name. They didn't say how they knew this was her, but were confident in saying that this was not an attack carried out by ISIS or issued by ISIS, but instead the couple was self-radicalized. Just a few hours ago, police updated the media on the ongoing investigation.
Our Thomas Gruhl has been on top of the story all day and is in the newsroom with the latest. Thomas?
Thanks, Tori Beth. Yeah, authorities just finished a press conference about an hour ago. Here are the latest details that we have learned. The FBI is now saying that there are a number of pieces of evidence that have pushed this investigation into an act of terror. They have also said that there was extensive planning that went into the shooting, and the FBI has turned over the home of the shooters to the homeowner. Now, the FBI is saying that the individuals try to destroy evidence, and there are some connections to other terror suspects.
We've also uncovered evidence that these subjects they attempted to destroy their digital fingerprints. For example, we found 2 cell phones in a nearby trash can. There are some telephonic connections between these 2 individuals, at least one of these individuals, and other subjects of our investigation.
Also overnight, last night into today, the identities of many of the victims have been released. The victims included an Iranian refugee, a married father of 6, healthcare workers, and a cousin of a New York Giant football player. In all, 14 people lost their lives in these senseless shootings, and 21 were injured. Now, the shooting occurred during a morning event for health employees that was to transition to a holiday party. The FBI is also stressing there are no current threat to the region, and they do not want people to live in fear or to create mass chaos. From the newsroom, Thomas Gruhl, back to the studio.
Thanks, Thomas. We will update the situation as more details become available.
In light of the California mass shooting, presidential hopefuls are speaking out about gun violence. GOP frontrunner Donald Trump spoke before the Jewish Coalition Presidential Forum yesterday, calling what happened in California an act of terrorism. He then took aim at President Obama.
Radical Islamic terrorism. And I'll tell you what, we have a president that refuses to use the term. He refuses to say it. There's something going on with him that we don't know about.
Trump also tweeted this after the shooting to voice his appreciation for the officials who handled the situation. The outspoken candidate is once again leading the pack of Republican presidential candidates. 36% of registered Republicans and Republican-leaning independents support Donald Trump, according to a new CNN poll. His nearest competitor, Texas Senator Ted Cruz, trails by a 20-point margin. Dr. Ben Carson is in 3rd place, followed by Florida Senator Marco Rubio. All other candidates garnered less than 5% of the GOP vote.
The Senate has approved a budget bill that would repeal Obamacare and defund Planned Parenthood. GOP leaders have finally fulfilled a long-time pledge to voters with the repeal, even though the president will veto the legislation if it reaches his desk. The bill also cuts federal funding to Planned Parenthood, which has come under even more scrutiny after videos were released that accused executives of selling the tissue of aborted fetuses. The Senate used a special vote that allowed them to pass the bill with just 51 votes instead of the normal 60. More jobs were added nationally in November than experts expected. The economy added 211,000 jobs, a reassuring sign of a healthy job market. The unemployment rate has stayed at 5%. This boost could mean the Federal Reserve will raise interest rates later this month.
Displaying the Confederate flag that was removed from the State House front lawn could cost the state more than $5 million. Alan Robertson, executive director of the Confederate Relic Room and Military Museum, told us today that he hopes to finish a feasible study and decide on a final budget within the next 7 to 10 days. He also says that until then, he will no longer be commenting on the proposal because he says the information released so far has been mostly inaccurate. The proposal includes renovating the relic room and museum where the flag has been stored since it came down in July. One state representative is sending more than just warm wishes with his Christmas card this year. Representative Chris Corley of Graniteville sent this card to Republican lawmakers. The card, featuring the Confederate flag flying, said that Corley hopes their holidays are, quote, filled with memories of a happier time when South Carolina's leaders possessed morals, convictions, and principles to stand for what's right.
Former North Charleston police officer Michael Slager was in court this morning after several motions were filed yesterday in his case. The defense is questioning if the state compromised DNA evidence on Slager's taser and is requesting all records pertaining to the investigation. Slager has been in jail since April after he shot and killed 50-year-old Walter Scott during a traffic stop. He is charged with murder.
Investigations continue on an armed robbery on Main Street in Columbia. Columbia police arrived at the First Citizens Bank early afternoon. K-9 units were also on location to help search for evidence. 2 surveillance photos have been sent to the public by police. The suspect verbally threatened the clerk before leaving. Anyone with information should call Crime Stoppers at 888-CRIME-SC.
Our weather specialist, Stephanie Youngblood, is out and about. How's it feeling out there, Stephanie?
Well, it's the first week of December and one day closer to Christmas, but a lot of us have been wondering where that winter weather really is. Much of the country is experiencing above average temperatures for this time of the year. But the good news is highs will only reach about 50s today with a low of 30s later this evening. So is it finally time to pull those Christmas scarves out? I'll tell you coming up in my full forecast later in the show.
Relief efforts have not stopped since the historic flooding in South Carolina. And today, South Carolina Senator Tim Scott held a meeting in Columbia City Hall to discuss how efforts can be improved. Small business owners talked about how funds they received in wake of the flood destruction aren't enough. Also, one South Carolina farmer discussed how the 1,000-year flood hurt the agricultural business. Scott showed some compassion for those affected.
We want to have an opportunity to highlight the importance of this issue, not as a political issue, as Mr. Cannon said, but as a life existence issue for so many people who put all that they have into their business or into their farm. So this, to me, is a very important opportunity for us to highlight and hopefully bring more attention and more assistance.
Scott said the City Council will work with FEMA on farmers and businesses getting more aid. The South Carolina Department of Transportation is looking to make some changes to next year's budget. Recommendations made by a committee yesterday included selling advertising space on its facilities, vehicles, and websites, and improving the process of collecting fines from out-of-state violators. The committee will meet at the beginning of 2016 to approve the changes.
Commuters in Irmo had to deal with a little extra traffic this morning after a car collided with a train. The crash happened at about 6:20 this morning near Piney Grove Road, and the scene was not cleared for 2 hours. The cause of the crash has not been determined. The driver of the car was taken to the hospital, but is expected to be okay. South Carolina is rated the worst in the nation for alcohol-related fatalities. Almost 300 people died in drunk driving crashes in 2014. Mothers Against Drunk Driving held a rally to spread the message about the dangers of drunk driving, and Melanie Thompson was there.
Members of the South Carolina Highway Patrol came out to pay tribute to people who have lost friends and relatives to drunk driving. Patricia Volker is a volunteer with MAD. She lost a son-in-law and 3 grandsons in an accident 5 years ago due to drunk driving. Volker says that people need to realize the decisions they make not only affect themselves, but others.
And if you're not going to think about yourself, think about those innocent people that you may kill. Think about the people you may leave behind if it's you that gets killed. Because, see, it's not just 4 people who were lost.
Stephen Burritt is program director for MAD and says with the approaching holidays, it's a place where people can come together and not bear the burden alone.
It helps them to know that other people want to remember with them those that they've lost. They see that other people are going through similar struggles, and they know that somebody cares about them and is thinking about them. So hopefully it helps them get a little bit stronger going into the holidays.
And not only the holidays, MAD works throughout the year to help educate the public about drunk driving prevention. In 2014, 279 people were killed by drunk drivers. There are 85 alcohol-related deaths for people under the age of 21. Less than 50% of all traffic fatalities involved alcohol, making South Carolina the worst in the nation. These numbers give people like Burritt and Voller a reason for MAD to keep fighting against drunk driving. Melanie Thompson, Carolina News.
MAD offers many services to people affected by the tragedy of drunk driving. For more information, visit mad.org/SC.
Well, if you're not dizzy yet from all the potential Gamecocks coach talk, hold on tight. We have just received word that potential coach Will Muschamp has officially resigned from Auburn. The state also reported today that he has reached out to star Marcus Lattimore for a job on the potential South Carolina staff. Our sports guru, Blake Limpton, will have the latest on the Gamecocks coaching search coming up in sports.
Today marks the last day of the semester for University of South Carolina students. But before the holiday celebrations can begin, students have to tackle finals. See what students are doing to de-stress from the most stressful week of the semester coming up next.
Never look a howler monkey in the eye.
Fried ants are delicious.
We finished a clinic in a rainstorm.
Really?
That was a confidence builder.
My students actually ended up teaching me.
Yeah.
In La Keg, à la King. Think managing a sales team is tough. Try working with 5 different villages. My alarm clock was a rooster. After 2 months, I was ready to quit, but after 2 years, I didn't want to leave. I didn't know I had it in me.
Turn 2 years of service into a lifetime of experience.
Today is the final day of classes, which means finals week is fast approaching. And with that comes panic mode for a lot of students. Patrick Cloney tells us how USC is helping to ease some of that anxiety.
It's the night before the final day of classes, and Zach Brown and Callie Wasserman are already hard at work preparing for finals.
And I have these 2 big term papers that I've kind of pushed off for a while, and now I'm a little bit overwhelmed.
Usually lists make me feel better. Writing all that down would typically make me feel like I could handle it, like, one thing at a time. But this one's a really long list.
For many students like Zach and Callie, the thought of finals brings up one emotion.
Anxiety. There's just too much.
If anxiety is on the top of your mind this final season, then maybe what you need is a break for some adult coloring. You can find activities just like this one at Stress Less for Success stations all around campus.
The campaign is a combined effort between Student Health Services and the Counseling Service Center to help students manage academic stress. They say the best way to do that is to remember to take care of yourself.
The basic self-care tends to fly out the window when people are stressed out. They feel like they don't have time.
The Stress Less for Success campaign emphasizes the importance of taking time for things like eating balanced meals, maintaining good sleep habits, continuing physical activity, and finding a balance between studies and activities you enjoy. And they offer plenty of ways to help you do just that.
Besides just these stations, we have a few more things that we're doing. We're doing the Pet-a-Pals. They bring the service dogs, and they're just coming to have some kind of dog therapy. Besides that, we have free yoga at Green Quad, just kind of small activities that students can use.
As for whether students plan to use those activities, especially, say, a high-anxiety graduate student,
I never did go and take advantage of that, but I think the stress level is a little bit higher now, so I might actually look into that kind of stuff this year.
But tonight, it might be time to get started on those papers. At the University of South Carolina, Patrick Cloney, Carolina News.
You can follow Student Health Services on social media to find out when and where the next Stress Less for Success event is taking place.
If you're looking for some free family fun, head down to the KC Riverwalk this evening. Several area church choirs, our local musicians will be singing along the first half mile of the park. Anyone is welcome to come enjoy the holiday music. The festivities will begin at 6:30.
Some Midlands organizations are coming together today to help those in need. You can take part in Stuff a Bus by bringing new unwrapped toys and non-perishable packaged food items to several Walmart locations. The locations where you can donate are listed on your screen. You have until 7:30 tonight to donate. A new Barbie doll released earlier this year is intelligent and connected. At least that's what the toy company Mattel claimed when they unveiled the high-tech Hello Barbie. The doll allows children to speak to and get a response from their favorite toy. Some privacy activists say that this is too connected, though. The conversations will be stored on cloud servers where they will be listened to and analyzed. The company has not commented or addressed the concerns.
Many people do not know how vital kidneys are to the human body. The National Kidney Foundation created an event called Dancing with the Doctors aimed at raising awareness to different kidney diseases. Audrey DeHowett has the story.
Last night at Blue in the Vista, the National Kidney Foundation took part in Dancing with the Doctors.
Tonight, it's all about dancing, having fun.
Thousands of people in South Carolina are affected with chronic kidney disease. In addition to that, thousands of people are also on hemodialysis or in need of a transplant, and this is just a way to raise awareness and to raise money for those causes.
Doctors were paired with members of the National Kidney Foundation where they danced in front of a panel of judges who have been affected by kidney disease. Samika Snipes-Smith's connection with the National Kidney Foundation is not just work-related.
I have a personal connection with National Kidney Foundation because my mom is actually on the list for a kidney transplant. And as a nurse, I actually work with patients who are on dialysis. So it's very personal to me, but I love giving back to the community too.
Ticket prices were $10, all of the money going to the National Kidney Foundation. After each dance, the audience would bid on the couple they liked best. A night to remember, not just because of funky dancing, but because of all the people that will be helped from events like these. In Columbia, Audrey DeHowett, Carolina News.
The National Kidney Foundation will have their next fundraiser at Buffalo Wild Wings on Two Notch Road December 7th at 11 a.m. 10% of the proceeds will be donated to the National Kidney Foundation.
Stephanie's up on the roof of the journalism school enjoying all this nice weather. What can you tell us?
Well, it is absolutely beautiful outside. Not too hot, not too cold. Clear blue, sunny skies. Will this weather be here to stay throughout the weekend, though? I'll tell you next, coming up in weather.
One of my biggest passions in life is animals. That's why I've worked with Morris Animal Foundation for over 40 years. Morris Animal Foundation is a world leader in helping animals live longer, healthier lives. You can too. Just show your support at morrisanimalfoundation.org.
To help cats, dogs, horses, and wildlife live healthier lives, visit morrisanimalfoundation.org, where we are advancing science that will create a healthier tomorrow for animals.
I wanted to be in the military since I was a kid.
I served a total of 16 years.
And at 19 years old, that's the first time I ever saw somebody die.
Coming back, I was raging.
I started having pretty horrible nightmares.
I started drinking a lot.
I guess I never recognized it in myself.
It all starts with going to the VA. There's a whole community of veterans that just want to help you out.
It's for the guys who couldn't come back, so you owe it to them to live well, because they're not here with their families.
So, Stephanie, it looked really nice out there earlier today, and I hope that continues.
Yes, it will continue, but I'll tell you what's going on right now. Currently in Columbia, we have temperatures at 58 degrees, finally getting some of that cold weather, humidity at 34%, and the winds coming from the north at 6 miles per hour. Going on to our current temperatures around the state. You'll see Columbia, like I said, is at 58. The upstate is a little bit cooler, but generally the whole state is at that mid-50s, upper 50s degree. Obviously, the coast is a little bit warmer. Going on to our current national map, you'll see that these highs sitting on over here is what's delivering us those clear skies, pushing those clouds out. You'll see this disturbance right down here in Florida. That gave them about 3 to 5 inches of rain. They're not the only state experiencing some of that rain, though. You'll see over here in California, we have this front. That gave them about 10 inches of rain and a lot of snow in the western part. Going on to tomorrow, you'll see that front has shifted on over with that stationary low, and that high we have right here is still there, going to deliver us those great clear skies we saw all day today, and Florida, thankfully, is going to have that disturbance kicked on out. Going on to tonight's lows, like I said, tonight's lows, you'll see, like I said, it's going to be in the 30s, so a little bit cooler. You might want to have a jacket and everything, but generally it's all mid-30s. In the coast, you'll see it's at 40 degree, a little bit warmer for that ocean breeze coming in. Tomorrow, not much has changed from today. We have 60, great weather tomorrow, 60 degrees. The upstate is a little bit cooler by 3, and then Myrtle Beach is at 61 and Charleston at 61 are our warmest states. Going on to our 5-day, great 5-day forecast. The only thing I want to point out is Monday we have a little bit of chance of rain, but other than that, enjoy your weekend. It's going to be great weather. So definitely take advantage of that, I would.
That sounds great. Even though it's going to be a little chilly, it sounds nice.
Yes, for sure.
Well, coming up, a lot of movement today as the Gamecocks continue to look for their next head coach. Blake Lipton will get you caught up with who's in and who's out next in sports.
Hey guys.
The strongest families are built one moment at a time. For more ways to make every day count, visit facebook.com/makeeverydaycount.
Millions of people face orthodontic problems. Left untreated, they can detract from dental, physical, and emotional health. Detection and treatment by an orthodontist is the key to preventing and correcting these problems. With 2 to 3 years of advanced, specialized education beyond dental school, orthodontists are dentistry's experts in the field of orthodontics. They're dedicated to straightening teeth and jaws. A healthy, attractive smile is priceless. Put yours in the care of the most qualified professional.
So Blake, Will Muschamp officially left Auburn. How do we feel about this?
I think he's setting himself up really well with all the changes going on between the candidates right now. One of those changes, and one of the early favorites, Houston head coach Tom Herman, officially off the market now. Herman no longer in the hunt for the Gamecocks coaching position, signing a new contract this morning with Houston, as first reported by ESPN's Travis Haney. The deal will reportedly raise the coach's annual salary to nearly $3 million, extending through the 2020 season. Herman led the Cougars to an 11-1 record this year and became just the 5th head coach to win the first 10 games of his career. Another possible coaching candidate, former Georgia head coach Mark Richt, with a new look today, but he's not donning the garnet in black. No spurs up for him, instead throwing up the U. Miami also officially announcing Richt as their new head coach Friday. The longtime former Georgia coach played for the Hurricanes in the early 1980s and said Friday that he's excited to be home. Richt went 145-51 in his 15 seasons at UGA, including 9 10-win seasons. So with Tom Herman and Mark Richt officially out, it's still not time to hit the panic button just yet. More big names continuing to come in. One of those big names, Arizona head coach Rich Rodriguez, reportedly added to the mix Thursday evening. Rodriguez is set to meet with South Carolina about the Gamecocks coaching vacancy. Fox Sports' Bruce Feldman reports. The former Clemson offensive coordinator led Arizona to a Pac-12 South championship in 2014 and has reached a bowl in each of his 4 years at the school. Other coaches reportedly added to the mix: former Rutgers coach Greg Schiano and University of California coach Sonny Dykes. And with all these names coming in, interim head coach Sean Elliott considered more of a long shot for the Gamecocks coaching gig, but he may have a shot somewhere else. Elliott is reportedly linked as a possible candidate for the ECU head coaching job, according to ESPN's Joe Shad. After the school fired their former head coach Ruffin McNeil today, Elliott went 1-5 during his time as the Gamecocks interim head coach and has already interviewed for the USC head coaching job. And with all this football talk, it might be easy to forget the USC men's basketball team off to the best start of the Frank Martin era. The Gamecocks in action tomorrow as they host the University of South Florida tomorrow afternoon. Not only are the Gamecocks looking to remain the only unbeaten team in the SEC, but South Carolina's head coach Frank Martin and USF head coach Orlando Artigua are believed to be the first two Cuban-American head coaches to face each other in a game. The game will tip off at 4 p.m. at Colonial Life Arena. So, guys, Gamecocks in action tomorrow, but everybody talking about the head coaching search. Will Muschamp, as you guys talked about earlier, he should be, setting himself up pretty well. With
yeah, definitely exciting. Thank you, Blake.
Well, we have something very special coming up after the break that you won't want to miss. Stay tuned.
Some people might think that Adrian would never be able to go to college like his brother, or achieve his dream of being an actor. We couldn't disagree more. We're the ARC, and we believe everyone should have the opportunity to realize their full potential. The ARC stands up for those in need, advocating for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities.
I want to be a professional actor.
So they can be anything they want to be. If you need help, or if you want to help, visit us at www.thearc.org.
I've got my own problems to worry about. Those people in Africa don't want to help themselves. What's the point? Where's the proof? Actually, SMART programs are saving lives. In just 10 years, over 15 million more kids are alive. All less than 1% of the total U.S. budget. How's that for proof? And today there are new vaccines that could save millions of more kids. Go to one.org and join the movement. We're not asking for your money. We're asking for your voice.
For those of you at home, we've loved being on your TV or computer screen every day.
We're a little sad to have today be our last show, and for many of us, our last day of college. This semester couldn't have been possible without our awesome professors, Rick and Harvey. This is for you guys.
Thanks, Rick and Harvey, for everything you've done for me this semester. Thank you.
You guys are the best.
Just want to say thank you to both of you for helping me this semester.
Hello, Rick and Harvey. I just wanted to thank you for a great semester.
Thanks, Rick, for making fun of me that one time for my eye twitching on camera.
Hey, Harvey, thanks for never yelling at me about audio.
Thanks, Rick and Harvey, for helping me get a job.
I'll remember this experience for the rest of my life. Thanks, Rick and Harvey. Thank you.
It's okay to blink on camera sometimes.
Thanks, Rick and Harvey.
You laughed at our jokes that weren't funny, like right now.
Thank you, Rick and Harvey.
Thank you, Rick and Harvey.
And that will do it for our last 4 o'clock newscast. Please stay tuned for our final show next at 4:30.
From our A team to yours, thanks for a great semester and have a happy holiday.
That was cute. That was cute.
It is important for young people to have a mentor in their life.
I would definitely say that I have had an impact on his life, and he's had an impact on my life.
One of the most important lessons that I've learned from Charlie is to make better decisions and take responsibility for what you're going to do.
Think about what you would be today if people didn't go a step out of their way to help you out. And that's really what it's all about.
So get involved and do your part. Invest in the future. Mentor a child.
What if you could ignite your child's love of learning with one after-school program? What if that one program was easy and fun? Destination Imagination is the one. Destination Imagination has taught teamwork, creativity, and problem-solving for more than 25 years. A major university study showed our students are ahead of others in creativity and critical thinking. Learn more at startateam.org and make Destination Imagination the one for you.
You can't text and pay attention to the world around you, and you definitely can't text and drive. Every year, deaths due to distracted and negligent driving are increasing. In fact, while drunk driving rates have dropped greatly, negligent driving fatalities have skyrocketed. Find out more at negligentdriving.com.
Hi, I'm Mia Hamm. As a professional soccer player, I know how rewarding sports can be and how quickly injuries happen. So I've teamed up with the American Association of Orthodontists to ask athletes to play it safe. With my years of training, I know what it takes to become an expert, and orthodontists do too. They're the experts who help people obtain healthy, beautiful smiles. Wear mouthguards, face masks, and helmets to prevent injuries. Keep smiling and visit braces.org.
Never look a howler monkey in the eye.
Fried ants are delicious.
We finished a clinic in a rainstorm.
Really?
That was a confidence builder.
My students actually ended up teaching me.
Yeah. In la keg, a la king.
Think managing a sales team is tough. Try working with 5 different villages. My alarm clock was a rooster. After 2 months, I was ready to quit, but after 2 years, I didn't want to leave.
I didn't know I had it in me.
Turn 2 years of service into a lifetime of experience.
Terror Connection. New information is surfacing about Wednesday's mass shooting in San Bernardino, California. We'll let you know what those details are at the top of the show. Mad about drunk driving. The group Mothers Against Drunk Driving gathered to remember loved ones Thursday night. We'll tell you what they had to say. And finding the one. The coaching carousel keeps going round and round, but some candidates to replace the head ball coach have officially found new homes. We'll tell you what this means for the Gamecock football program. All this and more coming up on Carolina News.
Live from the capital city, Carolina News brings you your news first. With breaking news and in-depth reporting. Up-to-the-minute weather. And all your sports news and highlights. It's all here, now, on Carolina News.
Hello and welcome to the final broadcast of the semester for Carolina News. I'm Shantae Sumter.
Thanks for joining us for our final show of the semester. I'm Jeremy Urso.
2 days after a coordinated attack in California killed 14 people, investigators have now found a connection between the shooting and ISIS. Officials believe the female shooter Teshfon Malik posted to Facebook during the attack. In this post, she was pledging allegiance to the leader of the terror group. Officials have not elaborated on how they connected to Malik, but the post was made on a different account with a different name. Neither of the assailants had a criminal record or were on any terror watch lists.
Officials provided additional details at a press conference just over an hour ago. Thomas Gruhl has been following the latest and is live in the newsroom with more information. Thomas?
Thanks, Jeremy. Yeah, authorities just finished a press conference about an hour and a half ago. Here are the new details that we have learned. The FBI is now saying that there are a number of pieces of evidence that have pushed this investigation into investigating as an act of terror. They have also said that there was extensive planning that went into the shooting, and the FBI has turned over the home of the shooters to the owner. Now, the FBI is saying the individuals try to destroy evidence, and there are some connections to other terror suspects.
We've also uncovered evidence that these subjects they attempted to destroy their digital fingerprints. For example, we found 2 cell phones in a nearby trash can. There are some telephonic connections between these 2 individuals, at least one of these individuals, and other subjects of our investigation.
Also, overnight, last night and into today, the identities of many of the victims have been released. The victims included an Iranian refugee, a married father of 6, healthcare workers, and a cousin of a New York Giant football player. In all, 14 people lost their lives in the shootings and 21 people were injured. The shooting occurred during a morning event for health employees that was to transition to a holiday party later in the afternoon. The FBI is also stressing that there is no current threat to the region and they do not want people to live in fear or to create mass chaos. From the newsroom, Thomas Gruhl, back to the studio.
Thanks, Thomas. We will update the situation as the details become available. In the wake of this horrible tragedy from California, many politicians voiced their opinions while one news outlet had a different approach. Yesterday, the New York Daily News printed this cover page showing tweets from conservative politicians with the phrase, "God isn't fixing this," in bold print. The title was meant to call out conservative Republicans, blaming them for being too quick to offer condolences while offering nothing else to prevent tragedies like this from happening again.
Donald Trump is making headlines again following Wednesday's mass shooting in San Bernardino, California. Trump spoke at the Jewish Coalition Presidential Forum Thursday and said the shooting was an act of terrorism. He then criticized President Barack Obama for not using the term radical Islamic terrorism.
Radical Islamic terrorism. And I'll tell you what, we have a president that refuses to use the term. He refuses to say it. There's something going on with him that we don't know about.
A new CNN poll shows that Trump is still leading the GOP field. He has a 20-point lead over Ted Cruz. Carson is in third at 14%. And Marco Rubio is not far behind the retired neurosurgeon at 12%. It should be noted, however, that this poll was taken before Wednesday's mass shooting.
$5.3 million, the amount the Confederate Relic Room's governing board approved for an exhibit for the Confederate flag. The Confederate flag was removed from the State House grounds on July 10th. The money would go to a display for the banner, a renovation to the Relic Room, educational exhibits, and a tribute to the fallen Confederate soldiers. State Representative Chris Corley of Graniteville sent out a Christmas card that seems to be generating questions and controversy. As you see, the card featured a photo of the Confederate flag before it was removed from the State House grounds. Inside of the card says, filled with memories of a happier time when South Carolina's leaders possessed morals, convictions, and the principles to stand for what's right. Corley is also proposing a statewide referendum on the 2016 ballot to return the battle flag to the State House grounds. The legislature, however, is not bound by a referendum.
Investigations continue on an armed robbery on Main Street in Columbia. Columbia police arrived at the First Citizens Bank early afternoon. Canine units were also on location to help search for evidence. 2 surveillance photos have been sent to the public by police. The suspect verbally threatened the clerk before leaving. Anyone with information should call Crime Stoppers at 1-888-CRIME-SC.
Our weather specialist, Stephanie Youngblood, is out and about. How's it feeling out there, Stephanie?
Well, it's the first week of December and one day closer to Christmas, but a lot of us have been wondering where that winter weather really is. Much of the country is experiencing above average temperatures for this time of the year. But the good news is highs will only reach about 50s today with a low of 30s later this evening. So is it finally time to pull those Christmas scarves out? I'll tell you coming up in my full forecast later in the show.
The holidays are a time of giving, and Midland's companies and organizations have started a toy and food collection called Stuff a Bus. On December 5th and 12th, come out to the following Walmart store to donate new unwrapped toys and non-perishable packaged food items from 5 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. The donation will help Midlands families who have registered this fall for Christmas assistance from the Salvation Army of the Midlands.
And there are more ways you can give back this holiday season. Many churches in the Midlands are collecting shoe boxes full of toys and treats for children in other countries through Operation Christmas Child. Businesses and USCPD are partnering with Toys for Tots, and Harvest Hope is also in need of food donations to help feed those in need this season.
And if you're looking for something to do this holiday season, here are some events that might interest you. The Columbia City Ballet will be presenting Nutcracker at the Koger Center this weekend with an evening show tonight, 2 shows on Saturday, and a matinee on Sunday. The KC West Columbia Parade of Lights will start at 5:30 p.m. on December 12th at the KC Municipal Complex. And if you prefer more physical activities, the 2015 Warm a Heart Race will be tomorrow at 7:30 a.m., starting at the Lexington Municipal Conference Center.
Today is the final day of classes, which means finals week is fast approaching. And with that comes panic mode for a lot of students. Patrick Cloney tells us how USC is helping to ease some of that anxiety.
It's the night before the final day of classes, and Zach Brown and Callie Wasserman are already hard at work preparing for finals.
And I have these 2 big term papers that I've kind of pushed off for a while, and now I'm a little bit overwhelmed.
Usually lists make me feel better. Writing all that down would typically make me feel like I could handle it, like, one thing at a time. But this one's a really long list.
For many students like Zach and Callie, the thought of finals brings up one emotion.
Anxiety. There's just too much.
If anxiety is on the top of your mind this final season, then maybe what you need is a break for some adult coloring. You can find activities just like this one at Stress Less for Success stations all around campus. The campaign is a combined effort between Student Health Services and the Counseling Service Center to help students manage academic stress. They say the best way to do that is to remember to take care of yourself.
The basic self-care tends to fly out the window when people are stressed out. They feel like they don't have time.
The Stress Less for Success campaign emphasizes the importance of taking time for things like eating balanced meals, maintaining good sleep habits, continuing physical activity, and finding a balance between studies and activities you enjoy. And they offer plenty of ways to help you do just that.
Besides just these stations, we have a few more things that we're doing. We're doing the Pet-a-Pals. They bring the service dogs, and they're just coming to have some kind of dog therapy. Besides that, we have free yoga at Green Quad, just kind of small activities that students can use.
As for whether students plan to use those activities, especially, say, a high-anxiety graduate student,
I never did go and take advantage of that, but I think the stress level is a little bit higher now, so I might actually look into that kind of stuff this year.
But tonight, it might be time to get started on those papers. At the University of South Carolina, Patrick Cloney, Carolina News.
You can follow Student Health Services on social media to find out when and where the next Stress Less for Success event is taking place.
Well, Jeremy, finals are just around the corner and Christmas break is almost here. But for some Midlands families, the holidays are missing something.
Mothers Against Drunk Driving held a vigil last night to remember
Members
those
of the
killed
South
in
Carolina
drunk driving accidents. We have the story after the break.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
Hey, did you know 2.4 million loving cats and dogs in shelters and rescues need our help to find a home? Let's go to the shelterpetproject.org and meet if you are in a shelter near you. Harlow, oh, she's one great listener who loves to hear all your stories. My kind of cat. Cerulo is a sweet, goofy boy who's eager to please. Sounds just like another dog I know. So go to the shelterpetproject.org, search your local shelters and rescues, and go for a cuddle with your next best friend. Adopt.
South Carolina is rated the worst in the nation for alcohol-related fatalities. Almost 300 people died in drunk driving crashes in 2014. Mothers Against Drunk Driving held a rally to spread the message about the dangers of drunk driving. Melanie Thompson was there.
Members of the South Carolina Highway Patrol came out to pay tribute to people who have lost friends and relatives to drunk driving. Patricia Volker is a volunteer with MAD. She lost a son-in-law and 3 grandsons in an accident 5 years ago due to drunk driving. Volker says that people need to realize the decisions they make not only affect themselves, but others.
And if you're not going to think about yourself, think about those innocent people that you may kill. Think about the people you may leave behind if it's you that gets killed. Because, see, it's not just 4 people who were lost.
Stephen Burrett is program director for MAD and says with the approaching holidays, it's a place where people can come together and not bear the burden alone.
It helps them to know that other people want to remember with them those that they've lost. They see that other people are going through similar struggles, and they know that somebody cares about them and is thinking about them. So hopefully it helps them get a little bit stronger going into the holidays.
And not only the holidays, MAD works throughout the year to help educate the public about drunk driving prevention. In 2014, 279 people were killed by drunk drivers. There are 85 alcohol-related deaths for people under the age of 21. Less than 50% of all traffic fatalities involved alcohol, making South Carolina the worst in the nation. These numbers give people like Burrett and Voller a reason for MAD to keep fighting against drunk driving. Melanie Thompson, Carolina News.
MAD offers many services to people affected by the tragedy of drunk driving. For more information, visit mad.org/SC.
The Labor Department announced Friday that employers have added 211,000 jobs in November, mainly by construction and retail. The unemployment rate remains at 5%, which is the lowest level we've seen since 2008. This larger amount of hiring implies that consumer spending is allowing the economy to maintain its momentum. Analysts believe the large amount of job increases could raise short-term interest rates later in the month.
Relief efforts have not stopped since the historic flooding in South Carolina, and today South Carolina Senator Tim Scott held a meeting in Columbia's City Hall to discuss how efforts can be improved. Small business owners and farmers talked about how funds they received in wake of flood destruction aren't enough. Scott showed compassion for those affected and said he would work with the government to try and give victims more financial aid.
Stephanie's up on the roof of the journalism school enjoying all this nice weather. What can you tell us?
Well, it is absolutely beautiful outside. Not too hot, not too cold. Clear blue, sunny skies. Will this weather be here to stay throughout the weekend, though? I'll tell you next, coming up in weather.
Look at me. Hey.
Raymond, look at Mommy.
Maybe the light hurts his eyes.
Maybe she's just not hungry.
Maybe he can't hear us.
Maybe we're not stimulating him enough. Maybe it's a phase.
Avoiding eye contact is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better.
Everywhere that we go, he makes people laugh and makes people smile, and I feel like I have that quality.
He's the one who always takes me fishing. I watch golf with him.
I watch him cook, because when I grow up, I want to be a cook too.
We have the same faces like this.
Dad is the one, when you fall, that picks you up.
That unconditional sense of presence and reassurance is really what makes him my father.
Stephanie, we've been seeing some colder temperatures. I know it was very cold this morning and throughout the day. Will these cold temperatures continue?
Yes, we're finally seeing some of that winter weather a lot of us really hope for, so it will be here to stay, but I'll let you know what's going on currently in Columbia. Right now, we have temperatures at 58 degrees, that humidity at 34%, and the winds are coming from the north at 6 miles per hour. Going on to current temperatures around the state, you'll see upstate is a little bit cooler and along the coast is a little bit hotter, but generally we're at that high 50 degrees, 60 degrees, pretty good temperature for around this time. Going on to our current conditions nationally, several things to point out to you. In Florida, we have this disturbance. They got a bunch of rain today, and over here we have those clear skies. That's because these highs are sitting right here, moving those clouds out of the way. California also experienced a lot of rain and snow along with other western parts of the state because of this front that is sitting right here. But if we go on to tomorrow, you'll see that front has shifted on over to the east with that stationary low. We also still have this high right here, so not a lot changing for us. Really, Florida, thankfully, that disturbance has moved on out, so that rain will no longer be with them. Hopefully, they'll experience some of those clear skies that we have as well. Like I said, temperatures tonight are going to be dropping to about high 30 degrees. Rock Hill is the coolest at 31 and 47 in Hilton Head. So that is the warmest city that we have around the state right now, but pretty cold. So definitely prepare yourself with some scarves or jackets tonight if you go out. Going on to tomorrow, same as today pretty much. Not a lot changing. It is a little bit cooler than typical seasons of this time of the year. But going on to our 5-day forecast, you'll see, like I said, Saturday and Sunday, beautiful, sunny, clear skies. Monday, do notice that we're at 30% chance of rain. But then going on forward, I mean, it's just great temperatures all around the state and in Columbia. So I would take advantage of that this weekend.
Well, I'm looking forward to the weekend. I need to get out and do something before Monday when the rain comes.
Definitely.
Well, the search is on for a Gamecock football coach, and South Carolina and a plethora of other universities are looking to fill the coaching vacancies. We'll have a coaching search update coming up next in sports.
We taught him how to hit a baseball, how to hit a receiver, the strike zone, the net. You taught him how to hit the upper corner. You even taught him how to hit the open man. But how much time have you spent teaching him what not to hit?
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
Well, Rachel, there seems to be a lot going on in the sports world today, especially with the college coach situations.
Yeah, getting right into the National College Football head coaching crisis, Mizzou will promote their defensive coordinator to head coach. Barry Odom played at Mizzou and returned for a 9-year stint in a variety of roles on Pinkel's staff. He left in 2009 to become a defensive coordinator at Memphis and returned to Mizzou for the 2015 season. Gary Pinkel, the winningest football coach in school history, is retiring to focus on his health following his lymphoma diagnosis. While filling Mizzou's vacancy leaves less competition for South Carolina, I do have some potentially bad news. The Malzahn-Muschamp marriage is over, and it could be potentially bad for Carolina football. Will Muschamp is not expected to return as Auburn's defensive coordinator. He was the single most splash hire in college football last offseason. After getting fired as head coach because of a lackluster 7-5 2014 season at Florida, Gus Malzahn brought the defensive genius, quote-unquote, to Auburn. Auburn was picked to win the SEC this summer. However, they ended up in dead last place in the SEC West. The South Carolina head coach search has expanded to include pretty much anyone who's ever touched a football before. It's a pretty good coaching job, seeing as the fans will be content as long as the new coach wins the 2016 Cupcake Saturday game. But for the love of Gamecock Nation, please don't hire the dude who's been fired from 2 SEC coaching positions in 2 seasons. Well, another fall sport is wrapped up its season in late November for Gamecock volleyball freshman Aubrey Ezell. This one season is all she needed to make her presence known as a force to be reckoned with. The freshman landed herself on multiple top 10 SEC statistical lists. Not something that happens for a player too often, especially a freshman. Caroline Can has her story.
Being a college freshman can be challenging.
Biology 101, that is a hard class.
But add on being the starting setter for a Division I volleyball team, and that challenge becomes much harder.
Being in season and being a starter and playing the way she is, it's tough, but she's not backing down and she never makes excuses.
And it would be easy to find an excuse, especially when you're rushing from morning weights to try and make it to your Biology 101 class. Or if you're like Aubrey Ezell and you're 5'6", giving it everything you have to get over this net, going up against these 6'5" middles that are found all over the SEC.
My whole life, I've always been the shortest, and I just always tell myself, and my mom always told me, you know, play like you're 6 foot, play like you're the tallest girl out there, and that's just what I've always done, and it's really just helped me be able to have the confidence that even though they are giants and like have huge verticals or whatever, I can still play with them. I might not be able to always block them, but I can slow them down or dig them up easily.
But she's done more than just hang with them. She's outplaying them. The freshman is leading the SEC in aces. She's won SEC Freshman of the Week multiple times, and she's second in the SEC with 13 double-double matches. And while everyone else may be surprised of the freshman year that she's had, she told her coaches to expect this.
She came in and told me before we even started the season that she wanted to be an all-SEC freshman, and she's going to do that. I fully believe that that's going to happen.
All SEC freshman, and she still has 3 more years as a Gamecock to build on what she's already accomplished.
What I can do just as a freshman, and to know that I'm not even the best out there, like I can always get better, and just to know that if I can do that, then I can do so much more, you know.
Caroline Can, Carolina News.
Since the season has ended, Ezell was named to the freshman All-SEC team. The Texas native is now switching gears and hoping to find the same success on the beach this spring for the Gamecock beach volleyball team. Moving from the volleyball to the basketball court, after a 5-game road stretch and a tournament win, Gamecock women's basketball is back in Columbia this weekend. The team faces number 14 Duke on Sunday. Last year, this matchup was one of the biggest games of the season. South Carolina played at Duke, but there were more Gamecock fans at the game than Duke fans. I was there. Down by 1 point late in the game, the Gamecocks poured on the pressure, and Duke's final inbound pass, Khadijah Sessions and Olivia Gaines here, forced a Duke turnover. Tiffany Mitchell missed a runner, but freshman phenomenon Asia Wilson took the game-winning basket to clinch the 51-50 win with 2 seconds left in the game. Sunday's game should be just as intense as Duke seeks revenge. The game kicks off at 2 p.m. at the Colonial Life Arena and will air on ESPN2. Switching gears to the NFL, it was a miracle in Motown. In unusual Green Bay fashion, the Packers didn't get on the board in Detroit until the third quarter in last night's Thursday night football game.
Well, Aaron Rodgers was busy throwing his 5th interception of the season and taking sacks. Megatron was on fire, increasing the Lions' lead to 17-0 in the first quarter with a touchdown. Fast forward to the fourth quarter, and this is where it gets interesting. The Lions lead 23-21 with 6 seconds left in the game. At 3rd and 10, it's the Packers' last chance. Or is it? Rodgers gets the ball and looks like he goes down, but former Gamecock Devin Taylor, who you can often find him 5 points in the offseason, gets hit with a face mask penalty, giving the Packers one last play. With no time left on the clock, Rodgers scrambles and throws a 61-yard bomb Hail Mary pass to Richard Rodgers for a touchdown. Packers win the game 27-23 after coming back from a 20-point deficit. While the Packers and Lions are finished with Week 13, I'm hoping my Chargers can beat a depleted Denver Broncos team that's lacking Peyton Manning, who both set a record and was benched in the same game the other week. Bolts, I'm pulling for you.
I don't really have an NFL team, I'm going to pull for them too.
Go Bolts!
Well, coming up after the break, Santa is typically known for his big red suit, but when we return, find out how one mall put a new twist on Old Saint Nick. We'll be right back.
Have you heard? Scam artists are trying to trick seniors into giving them their Medicare number.
I heard that. This happened to my friend. A man came to her door wanting to sign her up for the new Medicare program. Well, when she got her Medicare summary notice, it was full of charges for services she hadn't received. So I did something about it. I joined the Senior Medicare Patrol, where I teach others to protect their Medicare numbers, review statements to spot false charges, and report suspected fraud.
We're asking folks about marriage.
You know, marriage makes me think of sports. You know, teamwork, dedication.
Okay, let's see what people say.
Let's say your marriage is a sport. What sport would it be?
Basketball. Surfing.
They have to be a team sport.
A lot of back and forth.
A lot of people watching.
So how many people are influenced by your marriage?
Hundreds.
You really think about the ripple effect.
It's like a wave.
Want to improve your marriage? For ideas, go to foryourmarriage.org. A message from the Catholic Church.
If I ride, I will know the way the trees smell after the rain. I will grow a heart so strong that hospitals will take Tuesdays off. If I ride, road rage will turn into laughter, and oil tankers will haul chocolate milk. And I won't be a boy or a girl. I will just be a rider.
Well, we're 21 days away from Christmas, and it's that time of year when families start to bring their kids to the mall. However, one Portland mall decided to go a little bit in the opposite direction of the traditional mall Santa. They decided to go with a hipster Santa. The mall's hipster Santa wears a sweater, sports jeans, and even has a man bun. He's also health conscious and rides a bike on his free time when he's not delivering toys or working at the North Pole. He posed for pictures with children at the mall on Thursday. Looks very cool. Well, as you can see, it's gotten a little bit crowded here on set. This is everyone who's worked on the show for the last 4 months, and everyone's done a great job, and I just want to say thank you to everyone. And it's definitely been very fun. We also want to thank our professors, Rick and Harvey. And do we have one last look at weather for a 5-day?
Yes, I'll have to say, if you guys enjoy that nice weather for the weekend, clear skies, sunny, have a great weekend. Thanks for checking.
Thank you, and make it a great winter break.